fingers. Some fingers on those touchpads are a little different. Or you move slow.
Did pledge.
Yep.
Pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We don't really have to approve previous minutes now, do we?
Nope.
Okay.
Announce that Commissioner Mark Greenwood's absent tonight.
Yep.
All the rest of the members are here.
What was your name?
John Ganger.
All right, nice to meet you. Daniel.
Sorry, I should have done some introductions.
Oh. So we want to talk with our guest first?
Well, let me make an announcement for John so he knows what's going on. The mayor's appointed you. That's her job. And according to the proceedings of the Planning and Zoning Commission, the members to be appointed by the mayor with the consent of the village council. So tonight you sit in our meeting, but you won't be allowed to vote till next week when the council approves you, which I don't imagine to be a problem, but that's part of the procedure. So,
I don't see a problem.
That's after all the background checks.
yeah. So welcome to the commission, John.
Thank you.
Okay, now we can proceed.
How can we help you?
I need to.
I believe so,
Yep, okay.
apparently.
All right.
You gotta be on,
Gotta be on camera?
yeah,
All right. Well, we're just here.
This is Todd Cook,
Yeah,
okay,
owns the water H2O uptown.
okay,
yeah, water
Yeah.
store,
cool.
south of the railroad tracks. And we're also in the process of opening a distillery.
Oh.
So my brother and I, we appreciate your consideration of changing the name of that street, the short section of Stone Street. Changing it to Bourbon Street. Be a little extra advertising for us. And it would just be that section. It wouldn't affect anybody else's addresses. Since we own both sides of the street. And then just go down to Erie. It'd be a short section. It wouldn't affect anybody else's postal issues or at all, hopefully not. But we just appreciate your considering it if you will.
Thank you.
Thanks, Todd.
Okay. So we have to approve that, correct?
Yes, I think I sent out an email, or maybe you sent out the email to everybody. It's ordinance 2025. It's the rest of it's blank.
Yep.
There's an ordinance for renaming a portion of Stone Street in the village of Antwerp, Ohio, spanning from the intersection of Stone Street and South Main Street to the intersection of Stone Street and Erie Street to Bourbon Street. So I guess we open up the floor for any comments or concerns.
I mean, seems pretty straightforward to me. You said nobody else is even,
Shouldn't affect anybody
Yeah.
else's address at all. Because yours is.
Mine's on the other side, but mine's 122.
South Bay.
The only concern I heard was that street would then have three names. On the other side of 49 will be Railroad Street, then it would turn to Bourbon Street, and then it would turn to Stone Street for the remainder of the street. That was a concern that I heard when I talked to Mark Greenwood. That was one of his concerns, that possibly might create problems with deliveries for, UPS guys or FedEx or any of them. But like Todd said, there's no other buildings on that street that he doesn't own. And there's no residents on that street. It's just a business.
H2O is getting delivered to 124, right? South Main.
208.
That goes to 208.
Yeah, that's H2O. And they deliver our stuff to this house on North Main all the time.
Oh, yeah.
Because none of their programs say that South Main even exists. And so the house right next to the coffee shop, we sometimes have to go there and they're like, yeah, we got a package for you.
Yeah.
I personally don't have any problem with it as far as
I
any
don't.
concerns on my behalf.
What is, how far does Railroad Street go?
Railroad Street runs from
Main to,
or Main or 49
The end of-
west to it dead ends down there in the third block, I think, on the other side of the
Closed it
elevator.
off.
yeah,
It
that's
doesn't
right.
go back
So
down
that's
through
where it
there.
ends.
It doesn't go clear through town, it's a dead end street going the other way. And a portion of that street's private now because the elevator owns the street where, right where the elevator's at, so they could run their trucks in and out of there and park
Mhm.
themselves.
Okay,
So
so
Todd doesn't know, or I mean, Jeff doesn't know what he's doing with that building.
What's that?
Jeff doesn't know what he's doing with that building on
On
Railroad. Yeah,
That's hopefully gonna get that new facade. And, the grant money, the infrastructure money is gonna go to that.
I didn't know if changing it all, would you
No.
want to change it all the way down
Well,
from
the only-
there?
the only way you can change it is, according to law, you would have to get consent of every resident that lives on the rest of that street. It really wouldn't affect them because everybody has a post office box, so they would pick up their mail at the same place. But if they have checking accounts or they have any
Mhm.
other mailing addresses such as, you
Might
know,
be a can of worms.
online stuff.
so they don't have mailboxes on the street? They have to go uptown somewhere?
Gotta be a certain
For so-
distance away from the
so
post
far,
office.
Okay.
So it's something we could change now. If they have problems with it and they want to change it too, that would, you know.
I
they
don't
could
know,
do that.
what's the VFW's address?
So they probably.
Maybe-
Be on,
Could we put a sign on the pole on 49 pointing Stone Street? We have it that says bowling alley and
Yeah,
ball fields and all that.
This is 105 Railroad.
that's what it is.
Yeah, is that right?
yeah, the right,
Yeah.
Railroad Street, everything on that side's railroad.
Yeah, so that would be probably a
I
problem.
mean, it's not gonna affect anybody else, so I think you have a harder time changing more than you would just changing a little bit. Just, I know at least. Yeah,
Well, I think it'd be good for business.
Yeah.
That's it.
I
And we're
do
trying to
too.
Yeah.
promote business, and
Mhm.
if you can get something like, you know, rather than going to New Orleans to Bourbon Street, you can
Mhm.
come to Antwerp. and
Yeah.
Enjoy Bourbon Street.
Yeah.
Hopefully Todd can get the licenses for some sort of an outside pub or something, who knows what it could lead to in the future.
Mhm. So we wanna make a motion to vote or approve it?
I'll make a motion to approve the ordinance.
Okay,
Second.
okay. All in favor?
I,
Okay. Looks like it's a done deal. Wait, no, it's gotta go to council, right?
This ordinance now will proceed to council next week. I'll present it to them and then they'll be able to vote on, and it'll have to have a public hearing. Who's it causes, it's a change in the zoning, I believe. Now, I'm not positive on that.
will they, if it doesn't affect anybody?
Well, other than
We'd still
Todd,
have to, I know, but he
But-
wants it.
yeah, I don't think it would affect. But
It's not a variance, right?
no, it's just an ordinance to name the street. And as far as the street sign, Todd, you were taking care of that, or the village needs to redo a street sign, or?
We would be happy to take care of that. I mean, I'm sure you have somebody that makes it, but we'd be happy to pay for it.
Okay.
I imagine once it gets approved, then they'll send it to fire department, police department, that kind of thing, just so they know.
So they know.
Right, yeah, and I talked to village administrator and he said he would redo the village map to show that had been changed to Bourbon Street.
Okay.
And he'd contact Paulding County Auditor's Office so they could update their system as well. Yeah, Bryce.
Okay, I got a small thing I want to bring up. I've got a couple of parcels that I'd like to merge, and I've got the survey for it. How do I go about doing that here? Do I just need to submit the legal paperwork to you guys and you approve it, or?
I don't
Or-
think it even needs our approval, cause when we did that with Gabe's lots, Brian just filled it out
made sure everything was correct and I signed it. And I don't
Okay.
think it ever came to this
Okay,
meeting or a different one.
so I just need to put the survey together,
I
put the
imagine.
request together, the legal paperwork and submit it.
Yeah, and that was
And
when
then you
I,
can stamp it or.
yep, because when he did that paperwork, it was paperwork that I don't have.
Okay.
So Brian took care of all the paperwork, whatever that may be, and said, yes, this is good. I
Okay.
looked it over and signed it, and I think that was it.
Okay,
I'm sure there was maybe some kind of fee or something, but I don't quite remember, but we can figure it out.
okay,
I'll
Okay.
make a note here to message Brian about it. Are they, just, you said a couple lots,
just a couple lots that, yeah,
and you want combined all of them?
I just want to combine them into one, so I'm not dealing with.
Okay. Are you building on them? Okay.
Who knows what happens next year?
Sure.
I don't have any plans of this.
Okay. I know the last, not Gabe's, but the other, somebody else recently combined lots, and we, same thing, I believe. It was just some paperwork.
Yeah.
But the difference was they were gonna build on the lot line between the two lots.
Okay,
We kind of advocated against it a little bit, but the engineer's office in the county said, it's kind of normal to do it that way.
uh-huh,
And they said that, you know, they were okay with it. Obviously, we could still say no, but
mhm,
we didn't, so
Yeah.
should be fine.
okay.
While we're speaking about the auditor's office, I got a message. I look it up here. Was the village made aware of the Napa building being, she says replanted with the current sale to Antwerp Bank? I don't think replanted was the right word, but is the Napa building getting sold?
Hadn't heard.
It's empty now. They moved to the
It's
new
empty.
location, but what is transacted with the building we have, that doesn't really have anything to do with us. As far as
She said replatted. Okay, that's right. So I haven't seen anything on that. Has anyone else?
Uh-uh.
Okay, all right. Apparently they're gonna try and replat something to do with the building, so,
Good, we don't need another empty building.
okay, that was all.
change it, sell off part of one of the lots or something, I don't know.
Okay,
But that would consist of not knowing the details of it.
Yeah,
But if they do change it, they have to go, zoning has to know so we can change maps and all that
it
other.
sounds like the bank is buying it. Current sale to Antwerp Bank.
No,
So,
one time they were looking to do more offices.
really?
I don't know. I think that's
Okay.
why they originally bought across the street,
Gross.
yeah. And parking.
Yeah,
I'll let them know we don't know anything about it and they should send us whatever they need. So what are these other ordinances that we're looking at?
Okay, well, I contacted you today. If you want to, Todd, you're welcome to leave, or
Okay.
you can stay, it's up to you.
Yeah.
I'd want,
No, we thank you for the consideration. We appreciate it very much. So.
here on out, it gets kind of boring, but you can see it on
Okay,
film
yeah.
later.
We appreciate the hard work.
You're
Thanks a
welcome.
lot. I know you guys are in it.
Well, we appreciate you guys bringing business into town, because that's how
oh,
we
yeah.
maintain a town. Without it, then we turn into a ghost town.
Yeah. Well, we're looking forward to it. We're setting stills tomorrow.
Really?
So.
So you have all your licensing and all
Yeah,
that
it's
stuff,
all-
everything's
it's a good
ready?
go. Yeah, it's good to go.
Nice.
Long time coming, right?
Hey.
Oh, man, it took about 4 years.
Wow. And you're gonna be making bourbon
Yes.
spirits?
Yes.
Just say what was the first ones on your lineup? What's coming out?
First we'll do a vodka and a gin, because that you can bottle, right out the gate. But we bought a defunct distillery, so we have 132 barrels to start that we can blend. Some of them are Some of them are rough, we're not gonna use those, but some of them are pretty decent, about 9 years old. So that's where we're gonna start and go from there. And then my family, on my mom's side, they had a distillery in Yugoslavia before they came to the United States. So they made slivovitz, which is brandy from plums.
Nice.
So, and apricots. So we're gonna do something with that just because of the family history, so.
Sure. Todd's a chemist, so it should be
Yeah.
good.
So this is like chemistry you can drink.
Nice. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, falls under old business. Couple months ago or longer, we were working on, the zoning plot. I don't know what page, it's page 3 of 75, but we were, putting places for restaurants, bars, recreational marijuana dispensaries and medical marijuana dispensaries. You sent that out this afternoon. I don't know if anybody got, I'm sure
Yeah.
John did because we know.
Oh, you're not on the thing, yeah.
We'll have to get your email address so we can keep you in the loop with us. We had okayed it at a previous meeting, but then as we talked about it, we decided instead of it being permissible, it needed to be conditional because of the licensing that was required, the different stages they had to go through. So all we did was change the Ps to Cs, but I think we need to vote on it the way it is. I don't know if anybody else needs to see this. Top 4 is what will be added to the section down there. That's 4 that we're gonna be adding to the zoning book. It's not already there.
Covers everybody, doesn't it?
Yeah,
Those are our new ones.
What did,
Um, go ahead.
what did we ever decide on the growing? Didn't we talk about growing at one time? Is that covered in the,
the description.
any of those?
No, I don't know how that is bracketed as
I don't-
far as the grower, whether that's.
What did,
Can the dispensary grow down there?
we talked about it, I don't remember, there was, well, because it's not zoned agriculture.
Yeah.
Sure.
And so I don't think it even has that possible, where do we have agriculture that they, you know what I mean? I don't think they could,
Well,
at least in the place they're going in.
yeah, what little I know about it, it's up there at Coldwater there at Dairy Queen. And
You
right
said
beside
somebody
it, they
that-
have a dispensary and they grow right above the
Yeah.
same building. It's
Right.
not a field, it's an indoor
And I don't think we
greenhouse.
want that,
I wouldn't, no, I don't think so.
if we need to.
There's no provisions for it right now. We hadn't run across that, I guess.
And I think that's why we changed those to conditional use, that way they would have to basically apply, correct? To, and then we could say, no, you can't grow.
Or
you
you
can
come up with a system that works, you know.
But
at
there's
that time.
somewhere, because it's agriculture, they can't just do it,
Right.
Yeah.
or, it's not zoned as agriculture.
Yeah, I'm sure
That's-
that's regulated pretty heavily by the states.
Right.
Yeah, that's,
What they
Because
can
the
do.
growing licenses are all different than the
I don't- yeah.
distribution and all that stuff. So they would have to have a separate grower's license from the state, which I'm sure they couldn't get without our approval, I would think.
because we do have a couple agriculture fields and stuff in town that's
Right.
been approved,
For agriculture, right?
Yeah,
That's
they were
within-
agriculture to begin with. We
Yes.
just never switched it.
right?
That's within the city limits. So in theory, if those people ever sold to somebody, they could potentially,
Well, I think that it has to be in a building. I don't believe it's grown as a field crop, but
probably
Yeah,
not,
price.
I don't know.
How does that apply to an individual growing a state minimum of 6 or how many ever they
Yeah.
say? That,
well, that'd be under
do we have
private.
to regulate that too, or is that just automatic because the state says they can?
Yeah, I'd say that falls under state law. That's,
Yeah, I mean, if you wanna stick 6 plants in your basement, be my guess, I don't, you know what I mean?
yeah, if you put
I
10
don't-
in there, I'd be a little worried. but
Yeah,
the village we can't police that as far as regulating.
Inside their house, yeah.
That would be maybe the drug enforcement side of the law.
Um. If, I mean, I don't think we have any current concern with the fields getting switched to marijuana, do we?
Well, I'm sure it's highly regulated because it's being next corporate or inside corporation limits or next to a school.
But in Coldwater, they were able to do it.
Or were they?
Well, that's what you said, right? They were
Well, it's in
growing
a
above.
building.
Oh,
Yeah.
inside, yeah.
It's in a greenhouse building. It's,
Yeah, I wouldn't think. I know like there's a place that grows it up in Morenci, but like it's in a greenhouse. They have like 24/7 security. I mean, there's a ridiculous amount of stipulations, I think, to get.
Security too, right?
Yeah,
they would-
right.
I wouldn't want to throw it.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I believe that was all one unit.
Mhm.
Okay, so you said we do need to vote on that then?
I would say we need to vote on it as it reads right now with the conditional in order, and I can present it to council next week. And then, of
Okay.
course, it's subject to their approval, but it has to go through us first.
Okay. So we want to make a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve it as it is.
I'll second.
For it. So that will go to council. The name change will go to council also. Correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah, I got a couple more here. It's going to council. We'll get them all put together and I'll read off what we got. We had some we approved from previous meetings that I've been hanging on to because of the fact that we need to get it in the newspaper and then have the public hearings.
We had a variance sent in that is actually not us. I thought it was, but I think it's for the marijuana place. But Brian said that's not our board, so we don't need to worry about that. I sent that through the email, but disregard on that.
Yeah, the only thing that we could do, and that would be, this board has the ability, is we could rezone the rest of River Street into a B2. It's B2 up to the driveway goes back to the trailer court. And then from there on, it's R2. We could rezone that to B2, then the parking lot would be, well, no, that's listed as being, yeah, that wouldn't even work.
Multifamily. Two.
Well, parking lots are accessory buildings. They have to be approved even in a B2 area. So yeah, it wouldn't do us any good to even rezone it. So yeah, it has to go through the zoning appeals board.
This says allow 510 River Street R2 multifamily district to be used as accessory parking for medical and adult use cannabis dispensary located at 503 River Street, which is B1.
Yeah, according
That
to
side of the street is B1 right now.
that side of the
Apparently.
street is
Cause weren't we talking about
the
how the
building,
dispensary
the
got
dispensary is on B1, but the other side of the street across from it is R2.
two, yeah.
And it's B2 up to the driveway back to the trailer court, that whole side of the street where the pit stop gas station is and the doctor's office. That was all zoned.
At 503 River. I imagine, is that where the building is?
Yeah.
Okay, this says it's B1. You're saying it's B2?
Well, the dispensary's on B1.
Yeah, he's saying it's B1 and then across the street's R2.
Okay, yeah, that's okay.
And it's B2 all the way up on the other side of the street.
Okay. But that's not our problem, I guess.
Yeah, because business and related usage, parking lots are prohibited in every place but an I2. And then it's listed as an accessory. So yeah, anytime somebody was putting a parking lot, it has to go through the appeals board.
Okay, all right. So what is garage sale?
We've had complaints in the past that people have complained that some people are misusing it I sent this email out to you guys last week, I think it was. I looked at different sites. I looked at Lima. Hicksville's had one since, 79. For garage sales, so it's been something that's, it's not new to the area and it's not just exclusively to us. But, we've had problems with people having basically a, flea market, and then sometimes they'll leave their stuff out, throw a tarp over the table, and when they're confronted about it, hey, well, we're gonna have another garage sale next week, so. What this proposal is to limit the number of garage sales to 3 a year. And it would require a permit for 2 of them. The one garage sale you wouldn't need a permit for would be the Antwerp Days garage sale where it's village wide. You would not need a permit for that particular one. Way it's listed, the Lima calls it home sales rather than garage sales, and their definition for home sales means the sale of personal property to the general public conducted on any portion of a residential property within any zoning district, to include but not to be limited to garage sales, patio sales, yard sales, carport sales, basement sales, porch sales, driveway sales, and the like. So that's why it's listed as garage sales / home sales. So somebody can't say, well, that's not a garage sale, it's a patio sale or whatever. So they've combined it all in, and down through it, it's always listed as a home sale. The home sales will be conducted from 9 a.m. to 8 p.m. On 3 consecutive days. So you can't start on Monday and run it for 2 weeks and say, well, I'm still on the garage sale. So, and that's been pretty much standard. Hicksville's the same way. Theirs is from 9 to 8. It's monitored by the police department as far as, any ordinance or any violations. Any police officer has rights. It doesn't fall on zoning inspectors, back in order to take care of it. So that was a proposal. Let's see. And the permit is free. There's no charge for the permit, but you have to have it. And it has to be displayed at the time of the garage sale, so that whoever comes up there, the officer doesn't have to ask for it, and then you have to, well, give me a minute, I'll go get it type of stuff. It's supposed to be displayed. As far as it says, signage has to be on the property. That can't be out the right of way. Displayed only during the sale. And, other point was on it, mayor shall provide applications for permits for home sale. And application for permit shall be included in the name, application, who shall be the resident of the village, the residence address and stuff. And, after completion of the permit, the mayor or whoever is designated by the mayor shall issue the permits to the application. So that's up to the mayor. She wants the village administrator to take care of it, or she wants the water clerk lady to take care of it, or person. That would be, or the mayor herself, she could do it according to the way this is rolled out.
Problem is, I'm not here a lot. I don't
Yeah.
come up here just to sit. If I got something to do, I come.
And see, that's
The other
some,
ones are in their office.
Yeah.
so
and this could be modified. This is just a write-up that I made, copying off other villages to try and come up with something that would work for us. It's not trying to limit anybody as far as 3 garage sales a year. If you've got that much stuff to sell, you're a pretty busy person buying stuff. And this also limits it to where, you can only sell your own personal items. See if I can find it here real quick. You can't go out. It's basically what it's doing is stopping flea markets from running.
It was at the beginning somewhere.
This seems hard to enforce. I don't know how I would know if somebody's.
Well, it would be difficult to enforce, but it's more or less trying to limit it. If somebody's went out and bought stuff and reselling it. But it's main thing is to keep them from turning it into basically a flea market where they're actually, going out buying new merchandise and selling it off the tables or whatever. But there again, it's more or less kind of like on the honor system. You set these up and most people or probably everybody will go by it. But if not, then it gives you the means to try and control a situation.
Is there anything in there about the signs?
Yes, it says,
3 feet by 3 feet, no greater than.
How long it can be up?
it
We've got
says,
Only
complaints
during the
about
sale.
yeah,
Only during the sale.
that. Okay,
yep, it's
Is-
on.
we've gotten complaints about that. People put them on the poles and stuff and don't take them down.
Personal property for sale and signs shall be promptly removed after the sale.
No sign shall be placed in the public right of way or on property other than where the sale is being conducted. No lighted sign. Only during the sale to be displayed. Personal property for sale sign shall be promptly removed. Yeah.
But it does limit it in, 929.02. It says, home sale shall be conducted at the same residence property no more than 2 times in 1 calendar year with a minimum of 60 days between the end of the one sale and the beginning of another. So that way they're not stacking them up. Well, I'm having this garage sale this week and this week's. Now, like I said, this stuff can all be modified. This is kind of just a place to start if we want to go there, or if we don't.
I think it sounds fair. I mean,
I mean, the time between, to me, I would just say put a quantity on it, right? Because if you, let's just say you gather all of your stuff and you want to do it in one big shebang and it's 2 weekends,
that's true.
to me, that's fine. But like, so the time between to me doesn't matter, but
60 days.
yeah, you know, if it's,
Yeah, like I said,
Well, how much action do we get during the 127? Is that anywhere?
no, we don't get any of that.
Okay.
We don't have a 49 garage sale day.
Yeah.
So we have an Antwerp garage sale day.
Yeah.
I think it's in August. I'm not positive.
And it's busy.
yeah. that
Sure.
that gets busy, yeah.
I just say, I know some of the people that do like the 127 sales, they'll set up the weekend before,
Oh, yeah.
and or the weekend after. I mean, that might be a 2 to 3 week deal for some of those people.
This permit process would then, say somebody needed to do that, they could apply for a variance, right? Then couldn't they come in and if there's a certain legitimate condition, they could apply for some sort of variance against that ordinance?
Well,
Say it's
that
in
might
place?
not work out because the variance is gonna cost them $75. So it
Intake.
depends how bad they want to have
I
it.
guess so. I just want to make sure that
Yeah.
option is technically available.
They'd have to
right?
go through the board and the appeals
I
board.
mean, I guess you could technically apply for, yeah.
Sure, I mean,
Right.
somebody.
I don't know why you would.
I don't know why.
But
I just
The
want to
only
make
thing I
sure.
could see is if it would be like, an estate's garage
Sale,
sales, if it was a person passed and you've already had 2 sales, now you have to liquidate the property. And then I'm sure something like that, you probably wouldn't have to apply for a variance depending on the circumstances. It's not as if
Yeah.
it's cut and dried.
does this say anything about estate sales? I thought I saw something.
It says. 429.04, this section will not apply to any sales licensed by an
Okay.
auctioneer.
So that's good, then it
So
won't
if we're having
affect.
an auction, yeah, it wouldn't count as a garage sale.
Okay,
And it also has a section in here that if, say you have your kid's bicycles out front, 5 items or less, and it's being advertised for sale, it is not considered a garage sale.
so if you put, okay,
Yeah, if you got bicycles or maybe you get lawn furniture or whatever, that's out front and that's what you advertise specifically those items, then yeah, it's not considered a garage sale. So there is some leniency in it. Oops. Each section. Right there.
I mean, I think it sounds mostly fair. I would say the minimum 60-day thing between, if you're only limiting them to what, technically two outside of the village day. I don't, if they want to have it 2 back-to-back weekends, I don't think that,
Maybe we take that out and.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah, just,
Two,
just limit them to 3, but they can have them.
back-to-back
They won't.
weekends and
I can't imagine somebody having more than 3 garage sales a year. I don't know, maybe they do.
um, that's a lot of stuff.
You're laughing. All right, you have a different.
Well, I mean, at the end of the day, if you had that much stuff, you're probably on Facebook Marketplace, advertising items is one of, some people are coming, like, there are other mediums to do this rather than pile your junk in a garage and actually perform a garage sale that people literally walk through, right? So like, man, we're talking about a lot of stuff that I can't imagine this being a problem. But I am glad the permit being free,
Yeah, I don't think we should charge people for it.
as long as, yeah, response time is adequate.
Do any other villages in the county have anything like this? Do we know?
yeah, Hicksville does.
Hicksville?
Yep, theirs was, they enacted it in 1979.
Do they still charge for those? It
Yeah.
used to be like $25.
According to what's on their website, there's no fee for it. It's, see, sign. Yes, no permit holder shall conduct a garage sale without posting a permit certificate in the permanent place upon the licensed premises. During the garage sale, no permit holder shall fail to exhibit a permit certification upon request of any village police officer.
Is that Hicksville's?
Yes,
Say that again, I'm sorry.
last one or?
Yeah, about the police officer?
During the garage sale, no permit holder shall fail to exhibit the permit certificate upon request to any village police officer.
Okay.
So in case they don't have it up, if they're requested to have it, they. Says the mayor shall provide applications for permits for garage sales. An application for a permit shall include the name of the applicant, who shall be a resident of the village, the residence address where the garage sale will be held, telephone number of the resident, and the date, hours, and duration of the garage sale. And it said, after completion of the permit, the mayor or whoever is designated by the mayor shall issue the permit to the resident. This section shall not apply to any sale by a licensed auctioneer, which that's basically, I pretty much copied everything they had. Whoever violates any of the provisions in this section is guilty of a minor misdemeanor. That's just the way this.
Did you type that up or did we have the?
Yep.
The one that we're
Yeah, I
looking
typed
at?
this
You
up.
did?
Yeah,
Okay.
I sit down and did it all, and it, to me, it's a little easier if it's already there
to look at.
in some form, and then we can kind of look at it, and like you say, take out that section about the 60 days.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So,
So-
I didn't see anything about a cost, but maybe there is, I really don't know.
I'd rather there not be.
Yeah, that's what, I mean, I can't see why.
Yeah.
So if we say we want to approve this minus the 60-day thing, then what? We send it to the attorney and he drafts it
I would present it to council.
and then they send it to
Yeah.
the attorney?
But see what you do, I go to council, I present this to them, that if it's been approved by us to be submitted to the village solicitor, then he goes over and checks it for any legalities or any typo errors, or the formatting is proper on it, so.
That was.
Yeah, we're basically, we're
Talking
just,
about
it's a
the other one.
request to approve something like that. They'll actually deny it, and on the, I assume when I present it, if they want to make any amendments to it or changes at that time, they can before we have a public hearing on it.
Okay. But it will have to go to a public hearing after it's approved?
I don't know on it, some of this stuff, what the legality is.
I don't think because we've sent a couple ordinances already to council, haven't we?
Not since you've been on, I don't believe.
Okay.
'Cause I've been hanging on to them until we,
Right. Okay,
like this one for the dispensary, we were still kind of,
yeah,
it was in the works yet.
okay. So do we need to vote on it to send it to council?
Yeah, we'd have to approve it minus section A of the home sales or minimum 60 days between them. And then I can
Should we
retype it.
redo it? Should we redo it and then vote on it next? Or what's your thoughts?
I can make the changes and bring it back
I'd
up.
be a little curious to see how many other villages have the same ordinance. So you wanna look into it a little bit more, take the 60-day thing out and then look at it next meeting, or do we wanna try and push it through?
It doesn't matter to me. It was just, we're coming into the garage sale
Mm.
Yeah,
season,
I
so
was just gonna say,
True.
this is May and
Right.
garage sales will start popping up.
But if council has a problem with it, they'll deny it, right? They can deny
they
it.
can deny it, they can make amendments to it.
So I say we vote on it, send it through. If council has an issue with it, then amend it. And I mean,
Connie said, I like everything except for the 60 days.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't,
What I'll do, I'll go home and I'll take that part out. Of course, and I'll have to do
Yeah.
the ABCD and then I'll email it to everybody. And when you see it, if you think it's all right, just email me back, yeah,
Mhm.
good, okay, or whatever. And I get a vote from everybody and if they approve it, then I'll bring it to council next week. As with that missing, if we approve it tonight,
okay. I would say
I'll make a motion to approve it with the amendment in it, taking out the section for the 60 days.
Second.
okay. For it,
yeah, I am, sorry.
okay.
Some stuff here, so we'll get sidetracked.
I messaged Josh, the mayor of Oakwood, to get their nuisance ordinance. He has not sent it to me yet. I think they just passed it through and he was waiting on a final version to maybe send over.
Okay.
Is this next section the dangerous building one? Is that the one we've been looking at for basically the nuisance stuff?
Right, yeah, that's, that, I don't know if I sent this or, I think everybody got a copy of this Village of Oakwood. And Brian Davis, he showed it to me and he requested that I bring it to the zoning board for, our opinion on it and possibly get something started as an ordinance. So I went online. I'm not a lawyer. I can't write up legal stuff. I'm sorry, but I have to copy somebody else's. So this is a section that I sent you guys. This is what Lima has as far as existing buildings. And I added the mobile homes and dangerous structures. We have an ordinance. Let's see. And we had one and the council didn't like it. It was set up strictly for mobile homes to
Mhm.
try and do something with ones that were in dilapidated shape. And so they asked us to do something with it. We've been kicking it around a little bit, trying to come up with some structure for it. And what I see of this, with this one here, there's a lot of legalities to it because you can't just go in and say that property is, too bad a shape. You're gonna have to pay to tear it down, or we're gonna tear it down and charge you. According to the Limas, they have to go through the county auditor's office for an appraisal. And then it has to be a certain value of that appraisal, what the inspector would say it costs to fix it up, and if the cost is higher than what the appraisal value is of the property, then you can say that it's, a structure deal.
Okay.
So this is quite lengthy. I don't know what Oakwood has. I would like to myself wait and see what Oakwood's looks like.
Okay.
This is quite in depth.
Mm-hmm.
There's 3 pages of it.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see what,
I think that would be tough, what you just read, to get the appraisal and
Yeah.
a lot
Yeah.
of cost and.
Yeah, you're getting in the gray area
Yeah.
there when you start talking about people's property,
Mhm.
whether, and there's a lot of them, it's obvious that it's a piece of junk. You can look out here at the old car wash.
Mhm.
He said he's gonna fix it up and still doesn't have a roof on it to this day. It's just a block structure that's been falling down.
Mhm.
For 30 years.
So that's kind of what we're trying to get headed in that direction. So I'd say we just kind of hold off on this. We'll see if we can get something out of Oakwood next month.
he said, let me get the ordinance sent over to you. I will get the signed ordinance. All I have is the pre-draft. So I don't know that they're quite done yet, but that was a couple days ago. I sent him that email. I haven't seen anything back, so I can follow up with him to send it over. And once he does, I'll put it out to the thread.
And that one you sent, newspaper clipping, was one that was in their paper.
I believe that come out of Defiance paper, but don't hold me to it because like I said, he just handed me the
Mhm.
photocopy of it, so I'm not sure. I would assume it come out of the paper. That to you, that was part that covers that, this application here.
Oh, okay.
That's what the board has. That's how you have to proceed with. I didn't know if you'd seen all that in our.
I had, yeah,
So I highlighted it. And that
okay,
was,
thank you.
I know you.
Still a little unclear on how, what.
You get a lot of stuff on your plate. Hurry.
On the garage sale. Sixville Hamlet application we look at as well.
I
You see
would,
that on their website? or
it's not
anything?
on their website. I'd have to get a hold of either the village administrator or the mayor and find out.
Mhm.
But I didn't want to proceed with it if we said, well, we
Right.
didn't want to do it, why go to the extra steps and then turn around and go backwards? Yeah, I can see if I can come up with that application process. So that's all I have on my table or platter tonight to work on. I can tell you guys what I'm gonna give to the council. It's a lot because we've been holding off on it to wait until we had enough, and now we got a lot. So the first item was at 928, the commercial vehicle and recreational campers that I drafted up. She called me last week, said there was truckers still parking there. The one guy had gotten out of his truck, walked over the fence, and was urinating, and they could see him right through the fence.
Nice.
And the gas station was still open across the street. So it's an ongoing problem and it's not getting any better. There's a copy of it there.
And that got, we're sending that.
This
Yep,
is
that
over
got
there at
approved.
the Dollar
So-
General. Okay.
The other one is the ordinance of the fees for what we charge for the zoning permits and,
That's all been approved, right?
yeah, we approved it. I've been hanging on to it. We sent it once to council. They looked it over. They said that the fee we had set up for appeals was too high. They felt they wanted it to come back to us and we hadn't adjusted any of the rest of our fees. So we doubled everything that was originally the fee that we had, and then we set the zoning appeals at $120, which I think before was 60 or something. I can't remember.
There was one we left. It was the
Yeah, the
expensive one.
rezoning application fee was $250, and we left that
Okay.
as is. The rest of them were.
Which, that's what this is, isn't it? A rezoning application?
Yeah,
'Cause I thought I saw somewhere in here that they only paid like $50 for theirs or something.
they probably wanted a variance fee. I guess, I think I'm not sure how it's wrote up.
Okay.
But yeah, you've got the paperwork
Yeah,
right there.
I'll look at that. I don't think, yeah, I should put up there. I'm unprepared. Okay, I'll look at that a different time, but
And the next one I'm gonna present to council will be the ordinance confirming Stone Street will be changed to Urban Street, that first section. And then, this is here for the businesses and related usage, which will cover restaurants, bars, recreational marijuana dispensaries and medical marijuana dispensaries. And then, the garage sale one with the amendment of taking out section A of 929.02, which consists of the 60 days. That'll be removed. And then I'll send everybody a copy of it for approval before I submit. So that's what I've got to take to council next week.
You're gonna be busy.
Yeah. Well, and then council also have to vote on the application or your new appointees for the
Yeah.
zoning appeals board.
hey,
So
anybody have anything else that? I think that addresses everything in the email thread.
you know, we've been kind of dragging on with that deal on the trailers, but we want to do it right. We don't
Yeah,
want
that's a big one.
we don't want to get into something where people feel that they're being singled out or being missed. And hopefully we can find something that isn't tangled up in a web of legal stuff.
Okay. Yeah, anything else we need till next time, I guess? We need your email to get on. Here, if you wanna write it down on that, and I'll actually this email thread. Babs. I already sent Brian an email about your lots, so I'll get on that, and then, like I said, I'm pretty sure they only paid.
Redo this, I can send it to you.
Okay,
It might have went to your guys' already. I forwarded him.
I just sent him an email or else I'd forget about it, but
Yeah, that's fine.
it does say here that they paid a $50 application fee.
Okay.
No, not for that. I'm sorry, Bryce.
Oh.
This is for the variance application, which doesn't sound right.
But I think, don't quote me on this, but rezoning would be like, we want to take for the marijuana dispensary that's now at the B1, we would rezone it to a B2. But that's been rezoned, that is rezoning. But what they want to do is just have that lot with a variance on it to where they can put the parking lot. That,
Oh.
we're not changing any property
Okay.
lines, we're not changing any zoning specs. So I think that's why that falls in, that it's not.
Okay, so it's not an actual rezoning, it's just a variance to the actual zoning. Okay. Okay,
After I got to think about it, that's what, cause we'd run across that before, but yeah, the rezoning is actually changing the classification of the property.
okay. Anything else by anyone? No?
Oh, I had one other thing. I've talked to Brian Davis about it today. Issue with newspapers. Getting the 10-day notice in the newspaper and stuff. I asked him if there's any chance that we could change that over to via and or social media. He said he's gonna check into it. He'll bring it up to council meeting next week and have our village solicitor look, but he, as far as he knows right now, the state law still requires we have to at least have it in one newspaper publication. And then we can use website, our calendar as a second publication. But it's been quite an ongoing deal since Bryce has been on the council. For 3.5 years now, we haven't been able to use the West Bend, so now we're trying to get Paulding paper, or sometimes, I guess. I personally haven't had any problem, but getting a hold of them to get,
We can't publish things since you're on, is that what you're saying?
so that's what I asked him to look into it, so maybe by next meeting, depending on what the outcome is, I might have something wrote up for that to change it. I looked in our zoning book, the word newspapers shows up 9 times in it, in various sections.
That's the thing, how many people from Antwerp get the Paulding Progress or whatever.
Well, that's true, and even the Defiance paper is no
Right,
longer an everyday
right.
publication, it's,
But we do keep in mind that they are required to be on ohiopublicnotices.com. Or publicnoticesohio.com. If the newspaper is doing their job,
They're supposed to put it in there when
it
you,
has to be available. That's the all of Ohio public notice website.
so it doesn't matter what paper we put it in, that would qualify.
Yes. If they're doing their job. Now, the Crescent hasn't always done their job and put them up there. But we do every week, put up our public notices on that site. So you should be able to go to that site, put in the village you're in, or county, or whatever.
See any
township,
notices?
And it'll show you all the notices from all the newspapers or any other media outlet that they're in. But that is the official site of Ohio.
Is it accessible to, say, us, or do you have to be a newspaper?
It
Public-
has to, it goes through the ONMA, which is the Ohio News Media Association.
Okay,
site.
so it's
And
not something that the village could input it themselves?
Not yet,
Okay,
not yet. There has been debate in State House about that. But the problem, there's just multiple issues with that between laws
yeah,
and separation of government.
Sure.
And media,
okay.
so.
Would our website be one of them if we just put on the front page? I don't know who does our website, but
well,
public notice or whatever.
It would be, as long as you have to still have one public, but it still has to be on the ONMA, the Public Notices Ohio.com website.
Hmm.
So, yes, I think the other after would qualify.
But the initial one has to,
Yeah, it has to be, because they don't want it where somebody says, after the fact, they just upload it to the town website and say, well, see, it's right there. Well, it goes to the state website. That's the official one that's in the Ohio Revised Code.
And even though we can't run it in your paper, we can't have you put that on there.
Because it didn't run in our paper, I don't think
You can do
I
that.
don't think it would be qualified. I think you've got to have where it's legally posted. So if you do put something in the Crescent or the Progress, just make sure that they do it. We do it automatically. But I think they have this thing where they want to charge extra for doing it. We just figure it's part of our job. If you have a legal notice, it's got to be up there. Just what it should be. They should not be charging you.
that was one thing I checked into, and like Bryce said, it's still in the legal legalities of it.
work in progress.
Yeah. Well, it's a lot of these small villages, we're lucky enough to the West Bend's here, and in the past, we've been able to use it, but you take a village like Payne or somebody like Cecil, they don't have a local paper
Right.
that's delivered. It has to be, what I've read, it has to be a paper that's delivered in your area. You can't go to Toledo and post it and say, here you go, we did it.
It's frowned upon.
Yeah.
I'm not sure that it's illegal, but it is frowned.
Okay.
So I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Yep.
Second? Second. All opposed, say aye. All right, we're in.
All right. Here's your pen.